Hello and welcome to Clewes Country, the country catch-up podcast, in association with our friends down at SoCal Barbecue Shop, the home of barbecue. With over 30 years of experience, they have the knowledge to help you select the perfect grill, smoker, and outdoor oven, as well as the essential accessories, tools, and a vast array of sauces and rubs you'll ever need. Go and visit them on a Saturday and experience a free demo day or sign up to one of their assorted monthly barbecue masterclasses. Did I mention they also stock Yeti? It's worth dropping in just to view their fantastic range. Simply visit socalbarbecueshop.co.uk. Hello and welcome to Clewes Country. It's Matt Clewes here. It's a pleasure to have you with us once again, our guest. As always, lots and lots to talk about. Currently, Bob Harris is Emerging Artist of 2024. Plenty of music out there for you to listen to on Spotify, including a brand new single called Safe Space. So much going on. Please welcome Jonny Morgan.
Glad to be here.
It's good to have you here. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm good. I'm cold, as we were just discussing. But go on.
No, I was just going to say, as we were saying, it's the first time in probably all year, to be fair. Well, probably since the clock's changed, that it's like, yes, it's very cold.
Yeah, for sure. But today has been it's been sunny, and for me, as long as it's bright, I can live with that. It's just the cloud, the grey. I live in the wrong country, but yeah, it's the grey that gets me down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But as you say, there's been a lot going on for you over this last year. How has it been as we now look into a new year very soon?
Yeah, I mean, this year's been a crazy one. We've just released a new song, as you mentioned, but most of this year's we released. Well, I released my debut album basically this time a year ago, November 17th last year, and then this year has basically been about playing that live. And I started to release music literally as the world shut down in 2020, so I was able to release singles but not actually do the thing of going out and playing them live. So this is kind of been my first experience where I could take some music, book a load of shows, and actually do that thing. So yeah, it's been great.
Would you say it's a help or a hindrance that it's kind of been 3-4 years since you first released music to then kind of being able to experience those first lot of shows as you have?
Yeah, I think good question. I don't know really. I think the not having all of the distraction around it meant that I could literally just, because before the world shut down, I basically was like, right, I'm gonna launch a solo project and go into that. And I gig loads, but in bands and terrible, when I was younger, I was my first ever band was a Blink-182 tribute band. Can you believe it? And we were tragic. We really were. But yeah, so I went and recorded a load of songs with the idea of doing what it took a few years to do. And I suppose it was good because yeah, for a couple of years, all I did really was, and I could kind of put my effort into releasing songs and giving them the attention they deserve, and all my money was I didn't have to find thousands to print vinyl because it seemed silly because I couldn't go out and kind of sell it to people, So yeah, but at the same time, to completely contradict that, this year's been a joy of being able to take new music and my thing is I just want to be out playing as much as possible. So yeah, it's maybe set me back in a few years on a live front, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people see your name out there, but does it feel like that? Does it feel like you are gaining, a following now?
That's kind. I don't think they do. Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry if I'm annoying anyone with my name, but yeah, I think it's no, they definitely. I tell you what was nice is because when I have started to book my own shows, there wasn't a massive fan base, but there was 2-3 years of people that have been invested, saved up, ready to buy tickets and get involved. So you could say that was a good thing. I'm finding that, you know, the great thing about playing live, and this has been, I've been very lucky to open for some amazing artists and like gain supports that way, you know, getting fans that are going to come back to shows. Kind of, you tend to meet on the road rather than listening to you on whatever, you know, in my experience.
Yeah. At that moment, then, when you decided to release music for the first time, obviously before everything happened, which it always feels like I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the word COVID anymore, but I just did. But like, when you decided to like, why was it in that moment? It was like, okay, now's the right time for you to be like, okay, here's my music, everyone.
Well, it didn't really work like that. It kind of, I was in many bands before, and I realized the only way to not have a band breakup is just have my own. And only way not to fall out with someone is to start a solo project. And I just kind of, I had released a few things. I took them down, thank God, and I didn't really know. I didn't really know what I wanted to be or what to sound like, and I had like maybe people getting involved where you need to sound like this, and we should go for that. And then after a few years of, you know, kind of being messed around, maybe I was just like, well, this is ridiculous. I may as well just make the music that I want to make. And then that, you know, so what happened is I ended up going to like Nashville to start recording a few records through with a friend of mine, Joel. And you know, people say that you're this or you're that. You know, I still, you know, I kind of been put in this Americana bracket, which I love, and I suppose that's for a reason because I love that kind of music. But I never intended it to be that way. That's just kind of when I was making music. I went to Nashville, and then I was just obsessed at the time with artists that had certain qualities or instruments over that music, and that just kind of became my shtick, if you like. And then yeah, and then I released a song 28th of February 2020 called Hurt Me, and then it just went really well with no budget, no backing. Like, you know, it wasn't top 10 in the charts, but that's not my world, you know, and it did well, and it gave me motivation to keep going. And luckily I had a load of stuff stored away that for you know, for that couple of years I could kind of release every two months because it was there ready to go. By the time of the world kind of, I wouldn't say normal because we're not there yet, but by the time it opened up again, you know, I kind of had developed a little bit of a thing, you know, just from 2 years of releasing.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting, isn't it? And it's crazy when you kind of feel like you're just making music and you slot right in and you kind of feel like you're in a genre, I guess. And so you got album out called Good Luck with the Music and
Yeah.
an EP which came out this year called The Biscuit Dispute, which I think is probably one of the best names I've ever heard for an EP.
Yeah.
Talk me through both of those, but talk me through the biscuits first.
So the biscuit dispute is with a friend of mine called Leon Meitzen, who he's from Florida, which is where we met. Because one of my first few gigs when I was growing up was in Tampa, and I met him then. And just coincidentally, him and a load of his mates now live up in Nashville, and I was there, and we would just, you know, we were just drinking and whatever else, and then we went for breakfast the next morning. Just kind of got on like a house on fire, and like, I really like your stuff, you really like my stuff. Let's, you know, we should record some music.
Mm.
So the name actually came a lot later because what happened then was we ordered breakfast, and I can't remember what I ordered, but he ordered some horrendous like, you know, biscuit thing, as in an American
I
biscuit
was
with
just gonna
like, you
say
know,
I can
like,
see where this is going.
yeah. And he said, oh, I have biscuits and gravy. And I remember, I kind of knew it wasn't, but I remember it arriving and me just thinking, that's not a biscuit. And we had a whole conversation about it. And what was really good is at this diner is the people around us started to get involved. And even like the lady behind the bar was like, they were loving us having this argument over, or this discussion over like what a biscuit is. So a couple months later, we flew down to Florida and we made just this 4-track EP in like 2 days. And then when we had it and we're like, right, let's put it out, we just didn't know what the hell to call it. And then we were like, I've got it. And we had some terrible names. And I remember just writing, how about it was the Biscuit Debate at first, and then we changed it to the Biscuit Dispute. Yeah.
It's just, I mean, do you know why they our friends in America call biscuits the biscuits that they do and not the biscuits that we do?
I haven't gone that far, to be honest. I don't think Leon could tell you that either. Like, because they like to be different, don't they? But do you know what the most satisfying thing was actually is when we were making the record. It was really small. It's just me, Leon, a couple of mates, and a producer. And I went to Walmart and there's an English section, and I paid something like $7 for some hobnobs because they'd never tried. They'd never tried a biscuit. And I went and bought them. I think I bought some digestives and some hobnobs. And watching them try a hobnob for the first time was like an amazing experience, you know.
Oh, I can imagine that's pretty special. Even just saying an American saying the word hobnob.
Yeah, and you can imagine the jokes that came with that. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. But all that aside, and then obviously it's been a great year because obviously I know Bob Harris has really kind of latched on and really noted you and really, supported you as well. And this award, the Emerging Artist
Yeah.
Award, which you got this year, tell me through receiving that, and especially from the legend that is Bob Harris as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was totally unexpected. I released the album 17th November last year, but we did an album launch show 3 days before then, and I asked Bob like 2 months before, not expecting anything. You know, how'd you feel about hosting it and whatever? But I wasn't really yelling about it from the rooftops because I thought just in case I say he's coming and he doesn't,
Yeah,
whatever. And then he did, and he said, yeah, I'll definitely be there about 2 weeks before. So I managed to kind of get it on the poster. And then tickets were already doing okay because it was my album launch. But then as soon as I said Bob was hosting it, I think a few people came just to see him.
yeah.
And it was great because we did like a 20-minute, it was at the Camden Club in London, and we did like a 20-minute interview before we played a note because the whole idea was to play the album start to finish with a band. And he came and did 20 minutes. And I mean, I was so nervous, one, for the event, but honestly, just to be like having a conversation with Bob.
Yeah.
And then, so that was a great night, and the show went really well. And then I was so tired, honestly, about a week later from releasing an album because I did it completely independently, really. And then I just got a random phone call like a week later from Bob himself. He was on Radio 2, and he FaceTimed me. He FaceTimed me, and yeah, and he was there with his Radio 2 mic, and I was like, am I being pranked or something? And then he said, you're my emerging artist for 2024, and yeah, it was a very nice early Christmas present, put it that way.
Crazy, crazy. I mean, yeah, if there's a moment to kind of pinpoint in any moment, that is the moment, isn't it? So, no,
Yeah. Yeah,
congratulations.
and it was a real kind of, now I look back now, it was only a year ago, but it really kind of, the album was a real taxing process, as any artist will tell you. And then to get that, it kind of felt like, it was just such a nice lift when I was quite mentally drained from
Yeah,
everything that comes with it. And then, yeah, I mean, 2 months later, there was the award show and got to play a song at that. And I mean, I was literally part of getting the award. Was like, I didn't just have to get up and like do an awkward speech, which I definitely did, but you play a song to everyone at the award show, which was, I don't know the capacity, but a lot of people in Hackney Old Church. And I went to play my first chord of Sometimes It's Great, which is off the album. And because of the spotlight, I could only see the first row. And
mm,
I locked eyes with Jason Isbell just as I was about to start singing. And I just remember being just terrified. It was just like the most terrifying experience of my life.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it's that time where our guest plays Keep Calm and Name Country. It's the game where my guest picks an artist, then has to name as many songs as they can by that artist in 30 seconds. It sounds simple, doesn't it?
Uh, Sounds very simple. Do you know a record off the top of your head?
Yes, so Poppy Vardell of First Time Flyers named 27 Taylor Swift songs in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
But one can dream, right? One can dream.
One can dream.
Right. Who are you going to pick for us?
Let's go, Casey Musgraves.
Okay. Right. 30 seconds on the clock. I've got my stopwatch right here. You got
Yeah.
30 seconds to name as many songs as you can by Casey Musgraves, and your time starts now.
Okay. Star-Crossed, Butterflies, Lonely Weekend, Slow Burn, Oh What a World, Love is a Wild Thing, Velvet Elvis, Said Butterflies, Deeper Well, The Architect, Lonely Millionaire,
That's it.
uh, Mother, Rainbow,
Five, four,
um,
3, 2, 1. Stop. 14.
14. I would have settled for 14.
Do you know what? That's one of the bigger scores we've had in recent weeks, I have to say.
How did you get 27? She must have, like, I mean,
Yeah, that was
she
like,
must have been speaking very quickly.
yeah, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. But
I'm annoyed now.
14's a good score, though. Honestly, that's one of the biggest scores we've had in recent weeks. In fact, you beat Anna Voss by one.
There you go. I'm sorry.
She also said Casey Musgraves song. She named 13.
Oh, I
So.
just got only an amateur gets 13 with Casey songs. You're not a real fan.
Calling her out straight out the bat. Love it. Jonny Morgan is on the show here today, and we've played the latest single on the show featuring Fran Lusty. It's called Safe Space. Jonny, tell us everything about this single because we love it. Obviously, we played it on the show. Now you're going to talk to us about it. So, what's the story of this one?
Yeah, so Fran Lusty, she opened for me at that album launch that I mentioned before, and I hadn't met her. I knew her music, but I hadn't met her. I got introduced by Tom Bright, who's another artist that I love, and yeah, she did a beautiful set, and we just hit it off, and we did that classic thing of, oh, we should write together sometime, and then usually that never materializes, but
Yeah.
with this it did. And there was one, I hadn't, even though the album, the album was done in the February before the November, if that makes sense, and I hadn't done a lot of writing because I was just caught up in releasing the album. And then because all of a sudden it was kind of like the album's done and it kind of stuff started to slow down over Christmas, I just woke up with this line in my head. I can't really tell you much more about that. I think I was feeling quite hopeful, it being around Christmas time, which is rare for me. And yeah, just the place I was in of just like, I'll be your safe space. And I remember doing it quite a little bit hungover, really groggy one morning, but having it, and it's the same tuning as a lovely as a Dylan song that I played the night before, and I just started kind of, I'll be your safe space, and I just did the most horrendous voice note, sent it to Fran saying, what do you think? And she loved it, and then nothing happened for a couple of months, and then we eventually got into the studio. And we had the main kind of I'll be your safe space, and we really liked that. And we had this line from the first notes of broken people have a habit of breaking you down, but I'll be your safe space. And that's what we had. And then we just kind of wrote it around that line and that sentiment. And then we had the song written by February, March, and then we took our sweet time to like perfect it, and it took a lot of like to and froing and all the rest of it. And yeah, it's quite an emotional song. I say it's my Disney song, the way it ends. Like, it's got, obviously it ends with lots of strings, and and all of that. So we kind of wanted it to come out at like this time of year, like November, as it was getting dark and cozy, and like the build up to like Christmas and getting cold. So yeah.
Well, and I feel that. I feel that indeed. And you say obviously it is emotional and it is your Disney song, as you say. But it's so then to write that kind of song, is it easy to jump in a studio with someone who you've only met once, maybe twice, whatever, and kind of go through that?
Well, usually no. Usually it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And but there's some people you just click with. And for example, usually if I'm doing a song with someone, there's a big, sat at a piano going, well, I'm singing this, so you sing this, and blah blah blah. Whereas Fran and I never really had to do that. I knew what I was going to do, which was going to be down here, and then she just sang on top of it without us really discussing what was going on. And we're kind of like, well, we don't know what we're doing, but it sounds all right, so let's not question it too much. So it did just come together, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously she was more than happy for this single to be out there. How have you kind of found it since releasing this single? Is it everything you wanted it to be?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd still love someone from Disney to put it at the end of their next movie. um, Obviously, so I can do this on a new iPhone. But yeah, no, it's gone well, to be honest. I think because there's been a bit of respite since me releasing something, like a year, that I think people were willing to give it a spin, and yeah, it's still doing quite well. And numbers is one thing, but I think what was really nice is I got a lot of messages, saying, "Oh, what a song," and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was quite nice, yeah.
Yeah. Especially in this genre, the country, Americana, like folk genre, the
Yeah,
importance, and I hear about this all the time from artists, the importance of co-writes and things like that. That
yeah.
obviously it's an amazing thing. For you, how do you go into a co-write like that? And then on the flip side of that, what's most important to you in a write on your own?
On my own,
Yeah.
I think okay. So with writing, I think that it's quite. I need directions, or I won't do anything.
You need a
So
teacher.
I think well, exactly. So at the moment we're doing a lot of writing because we're gearing up to go again. But I always like to have an idea of, even before we're there, or a half an hour coffee before we start, just to be like, okay, who are we writing for today? Like, what types of themes? Do you have anything? It's quite nice if I go into a lot of writes of songs that I've just got in my pocket that I've just admitted that I probably will never finish on my own. So, like, oh, I have this little idea, and it's amazing how something just sits there, and I've
Mm.
had it for 2, 3 years. I'll never finish it, and then just some different ears on it, and you have it 4 hours later or whatever. So, yeah, for me, I need direction. Some people can go in with blank canvas and just smash it out, and that does happen occasionally, but it's rare. And then with my own writing, it's like I've said this many times before. Like if you force me to write, I won't be able. I can't sit down and be like, I'm going to
Mm.
write a good song today. Some people have that discipline. I think what I'm getting good at is putting myself in environments that creativity comes to me. So for every morning, I'll sit down with a pen and just write absolute nonsense. And if there's something that just goes, what part of my brain did that come from? That may trigger something. But usually you'll be in the car or on a walk or something, and a line or something will hit you, and then you're like, and then it just falls out of the sky.
It's time once more to give a mention to our friends down at the SoCal Barbecue Shop, the home of barbecue. With over 30 years of experience, they have the knowledge to help you select the perfect grill, smoker, and outdoor oven, as well as all the essential accessories, tools, and a vast array of sauces and rubs you'll ever need. Go and visit them on a Saturday and experience a free demo day, or sign up to one of their assorted monthly barbecue masterclasses. Did I mention they also stock Yeti? It's worth dropping in just to view their fantastic range. Simply visit socalbarbecueshop.co.uk. Clewes Country, it's Matt Clewes here, and we have had Jonny Morgan on the show today. Well, congratulations on the latest single, Safe Space. As I say, we've played it on the show um, many a time now, and it's great. And what I've noticed is you mentioned Christmas and the fact you wanted to release this song out around this kind of time when the weather's getting colder, and as we've mentioned, and it's getting darker. But you're no stranger to a Christmas song, is what I've seen.
I wondered where you were going with this.
You're no stranger to
Yeah,
a Christmas song. Driving Home for Christmas, I've seen you've done.
yeah.
There's another one as well. Is there a kind of? I mean, I'm just gonna leave it
There's
to you. Do you love Christmas?
no, there's okay. So it's really funny. So I have a song, a version of Driving Home for Christmas, which is funny because like even now I'm starting to see it like creep up as we get closer and closer in terms of people listening to it. But then I also put out a song really in the early days, which I don't like that much, but it's called Hold On to You. And
Yeah.
one of the lines is Romance for Christmas. And I released it in November, and that's been adopted as a Christmas song as well. And I'll see that people only listen to that at Christmas. And then at the end of Good Luck with the Music, the last track is called It Doesn't Feel Like Christmas.
Mm.
And because it was a breakup album, yeah, it's just a very, if you want to have a good Christmas, don't listen to it because it's really sad. So I released that on the album. And then a month later, I released It Doesn't Feel Like Christmas, the festive version, and I put a load of like no, I think it's called the not so festive version or something like that. And it's got like altitude sleigh bells on it and stuff like that. So yeah, I kind of unofficially have 4 Christmas songs.
I mean, if you're putting the word Christmas in a song name, then you're asking for it, aren't you?
I know. It's kind of just it's like basically every year I get wheeled out like a depressed Michael Bublé.
You're like the opposite Buble. But hey, if it works, it works. But one thing is, right, is it true that all you need to do is add some sleigh bells to a song and does it make it sound like a Christmas song? Is this true?
That is true, and I also walked round a few Christmas markets last year with just voice recording and literally just getting that noise. And it starts with that and it finishes with that, and then it has a bit of extra synths on it and sleigh bells. And yes, it's a completely different song than the one without all of those elements on
I love
it.
that. I completely love that. But obviously, you are looking forward to Christmas after knowing that this is out in the open and people on Spotify are not
Yeah.
going to listen again.
No, this Christmas is going to be great. This Christmas is going to be great. Everything's good.
Good. That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Right. As we said though, Christmas is coming into
Yeah,
2025. Looking at that, you've obviously
yeah,
said that there's more music that's being written right now. What is your plan as you
yeah.
look into the new year?
So we're flying out to Nashville for the first 2 weeks of January, which is nice because we'll get to have all the festivities and then kind of disappear to Nashville for a couple of weeks. And the idea is to basically go with as many songs as possible, hence why we're kind of writing our
Mm.
butts off now. And then yeah, and we'll see. I'm hoping it will be an album. It may be an EP. We're not sure, but I have a set amount of studio time booked in Nashville. The band are coming out, and yeah, watch this space really. So I don't know anything more than that, but I'm hoping by the time that I get back 3rd week in January, I've got a lot of new music to kind of to drive me crazy over what I'm going to do with it. You know.
Absolutely. What's your experience of Nashville? How do you like to spend your time when you go over there? Apart from obviously recording music.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. It's like it's I say all the time, bringing up Disney again. It's like Disney World for country artists,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, it's the one place where you go and get a coffee, and the guy that like or the girl that makes you a coffee is a better songwriter than you are. You know, it's just like you know, and it's just such an inspirational place. And you know, I being into Americana and the music that I grew up, you know, with, you know, for me it's like a mecca. So I love being there. I really like hot chicken and bourbon, so you know, all of that's nice as well. So yeah, I love Nashville.
Love it, love it. Jonny Morgan, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure to have you and chat to you. And good luck with the trip to Nashville. I look forward to hearing the new music.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.